Why do we wear safety belts in the US? Seatbelt laws and regulations. Seatbelt and child restraint regulations were put in place for your safety, as are other driving laws. Your body is in motion while you are inside a moving car, even though it might not seem that way. Your body would continue to move until it contacted the interior of the car if the car came to a quick stop. Your internal organs and brain will continue to move for a little period of time after the outside of your body has stopped, until they collide with the interior of your skeletal structure. The injuries received in an automobile accident when the occupant is not restrained are comparable to those from falling severely from a height onto a hard surface. Never disregard how exposed you are when operating a vehicle. Even a 30-mile-per-hour crash can result in the same harm as jumping down a 3-story building. When utilized properly, safety equipment like seatbelts, airbags, and kid seats can significantly lower the likelihood of suffering serious injuries or death in a car accident. These restraints have been made to keep you inside the car in the case of an accident while minimizing the harm done by your body halting too suddenly during contact. Recognizing seatbelt regulations. While age has no bearing on whether or not a person must use a seatbelt, it does have an impact on who is responsible for disobeying seatbelt regulations. Any minors in your car who aren't properly buckled up will be your responsibility as the driver. Check your state's driving manual for specifics, as the age at which kids are legally liable for their own restraints varies depending on state legislation. If someone in your car doesn't use a seatbelt, getting fined or penalized is the least of your concerns. In the case of a collision, the user of this restraint should be shielded from being flung into the dashboard, through the windshield, or out of an open door. Remember that if a collision occurs and a backseat passenger is not buckled up, they could suffer significant injuries along with the driver or front passenger. They might be thrown violently into the back of the front seat in this scenario, crushing the passenger in front. Even though all of your passengers are legally required to use their individual restraints, you should never start a trip unless you are satisfied that everyone is safely belted up. Click It or Ticket. The goal of the nationwide Click It or Ticket campaign is to increase the use of seatbelts by drivers and passengers in order to lower the number of collision-related injuries and fatalities. To encourage more drivers to buckle up, the program employs visual reminders and enforcement techniques like road signage, television advertising, and roadway checkpoints. The Click It or Ticket campaign has been a major success in reducing traffic-related fatalities and injuries. Drivers and passengers are more likely to take the time to buckle up if they are aware that seatbelt requirements are properly enforced. The initiative has prevented almost 73,000 major injuries and 4,317 fatalities between 2002 and 2015. How well do seatbelts work? The most reliable and well-established kind of vehicle restraint is the seatbelt. Drivers have long believed dangerous misconceptions like seatbelts cause more injuries or backseat passengers are safe without seatbelts. By such tales, do not be fooled. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration can vouch for the fact that seatbelts save lives. In 2016, 57% of rear passengers and 47% of front seat occupants who died in auto accidents were not wearing seatbelts. Seatbelts are thought to have saved about 15,000 lives in the same year. Car seats and child restraint systems. The topic of child car seats will be covered in our upcoming post, along with the significance of picking the right restraint based on your child's age and local regulations. The driver is responsible for making sure that all passengers under the age of 18 are securely buckled into the proper car seat, according to the various child restraint rules in place throughout the United States. The safety of children depends on these laws. According to data from 2013, around 90% of children under the age of 15 were properly restrained when riding in a motor vehicle. Less than 10% of children were buckled up in seatbelts or in car seats prior to the advent of child restraint legislation, which occurred about 40 years ago.